How to build a successful brand. This is one of the most important business and marketing questions that you can ask. This is because a good brand is one of the most powerful assets that your business could ever hope to have. This is especially true today with competition at an all-time high, and thanks to technology and the global economy, well, it's easier than ever before for people to just come into the market and pretty much copy exactly what you're doing. So how do you stand out and differentiate yourself and become the go-to leader in your space? The answer, my friend, is a powerful brand. So let's build one now. Hey there, my name is Erhart, marketing strategist, and welcome to the channel, the #1 place to learn proven marketing strategies. So if that's something you're into, you may want to consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you never miss a future episode. Want to know one of the things that all the biggest, strongest, and arguably best companies all have in common? Well, if you guessed a powerful brand, then you guessed right. And here's the good news. You don't need to have a fancy product or service, be in a new or futuristic industry, or be a tech giant or massive innovator like Apple or Tesla in order to compete and really build a strong and powerful brand. Because if businesses and companies in normal, boring and commodity products like coffee and running shoes, well, if they can build powerful brands, then you can too. But you need to do it right. But before we dive into how to build a brand the right way, we first need to discuss, what is a brand anyway? A brand is really nothing more than a customer's gut feeling or perception about your product, about your service, or about your company. Put another way, a brand is your company's reputation. It's what people feel when they think about you. Now, of course, you can deploy marketing strategy and branding strategy in order to influence and to persuade them to get those kind of feelings. But at the end of the day, ultimately, it's up to your customers and it's up to their own impressions and their own feelings that they get that really makes up what your brand is. So yes, you can and definitely should use the strategies and tactics that I'm going to share with you here. But at the end of the day, what ultimately matters is how the customers end up feeling about your business, about your brand, or about your product. Next, it's important to understand that a brand is not your logo. A logo is important, it's a symbol and an icon, but it's not your brand. A brand is also not your product. In fact, brands often launch a number of different products, all of which could make up a brand or be separate brands themselves. A brand is also not your colors or your layout or your website or your design or anything like that. Though these are all important parts of your overall brand identity, they really are just parts, and they help to contribute to that ultimate feeling that we're trying to create in our customers. Basically, a brand is bigger than all of those things. What makes branding so important and so powerful, though, is that brands tend to evoke an emotional reaction among your customers. And because your customers tend to make those purchase decisions emotionally rather than logically, rather than rationally, well, it only makes sense to leverage the incredible power of a brand. So knowing all of that, how do you build a successful brand? Well, the first thing you need to understand when it comes to building a successful brand is that it doesn't happen overnight. It takes careful and insightful planning, strategic action, and a whole lot of repetition, which is why I want to say thank you to this video's sponsor, Penji. Penji offers unlimited graphic design for a flat monthly rate, which means you can ensure that all of your marketing and all of your branding looks and feels and stays consistent across all of your assets, whether we're talking about your website, your social media, or your presentations. I use Penji to help with Instagram posts, with presentation slides, even with worksheets for my programs and for my clients. If you're interested in checking them out for your business, which I highly recommend, I'll make sure to put an affiliate link in the description box below for you to check out after this video. All right. Back to the show. So once you understand that branding is really more of that long-term approach that's going to require that planning aspect and that action and of course that repetition, well, now it's time to roll up your sleeves and get to work. The first thing you need to do is some high-level strategic thinking in order to properly define your brand philosophy. You need to ask yourself questions like, why does my brand exist? And what's the story behind my brand? These are important questions because they're going to impact and influence everything you do moving forward. Plus, they're going to allow your customers, your clients, and your audience to better understand and to more relate to your brand and to your business on a more authentic and more human level. Now, if you're just getting started or this is a brand new campaign or a brand new business or a brand new brand, I appreciate these questions may be tricky to answer, but The answers are hiding in there somewhere. For example, when I first got started in marketing, all I really cared about was making enough money to live. And that's hardly a compelling brand statement. Please hire me so I can afford to eat. But it wasn't long before I realized that being just another marketing agency wasn't truly going to be enough for me to stand out and differentiate myself and really make the impact that I wanted to make. I didn't want to be just any marketer. I wanted to be the best marketer. Sure, wanting to make money is fine. Great even. But it's not compelling enough to your audience in order to create a truly impactful and long-lasting brand. Well, it just so happened that around the time of that realization, I started to get hooked, like wildly addicted to marketing and to all aspects of understanding influence and persuasion and why people do and buy the things that they do. The more I learned, the more excited I got, and eventually it got to the point that all of my friends and all of my family were completely tired of hearing me talk about just how great marketing was. So I started blogging and then podcasting and then this YouTube channel so I could further spread the word about just how powerful and how important marketing and branding and advertising truly were. Now, here, today, and looking back, well, my path and my business and my brand, they almost seem to follow that cliched rags to riches story. But looking back at the time, I had no idea where things would end up. And this is why, if you're just getting started, it's okay to define your brand not only where you are, but also where you want to end up, including your dreams and your wants and your goals and your desires. So don't be afraid to share this when you answer the questions, why does my brand exist? And what's the story behind my brand? Now, if you feel like taking this a step further, and seeing as we're both here right now, we might as well, right? Well, then the next step is to use a tool called a branding ladder, which allows you to stair step or ladder step up, essentially refining your brand and clarifying your message and your value. First off, you start at the bottom rung of the ladder by identifying what attributes or what features your brand or your business or your product or your service offers. Basically, what are your unique product or service features? Once that's done, take one step up and take a look at what functional benefits it provides. Basically, what will people get? Another step up and we start getting a little more personal and a little deeper by identifying what emotional benefits someone will get. You want to be able to answer the question, how does this make people feel? Another step up to transformational benefits. How is this going to change someone's life? And then, if you can, that final step all the way up to societal benefit. How does your brand, your business, your product, or your service change society? The higher up the ladder you're able to go, well, the more impactful and the deeper and the greater level of connection you're going to be able to build with your brand to your customers. But there are other great ways to improve your branding as well, which is why the next thing you're going to want to do is check out the video I have linked up right here on Introduction to Branding. So make sure to check that out now, and I'll see you in the next episode.